Hello and welcome to the channel. This is every small detail you might have missed in Severance Season 2 Episode 5. We'll start with a mysterious doctor in the beginning of the episode, and he is whistling The Wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald. This is a song written and sung by Gordon Lightfoot in 1976 about the tragedy of SS Edmund Fitzgerald.
The lake, it is said, never gives up her dead.
Now, the story of this ship is one of tragedy, mystery, and loss. On November 10th, 1975, the massive freighter, loaded with over 26,000 tons of iron ore, disappeared into depths of Lake Superior. 29 crew members vanished without a trace, swallowed by the icy waters. The lake, as the Chippewa legend says in the song, never gives up her dead. Sounds familiar? I mean, Lumon is also kind of in the business of never giving up the dead.
She's not dead, she's just not here.
Gemma, for instance, who exists but doesn't actually exist. She was Mark's wife, yet now she is Miss Casey, a ghost walking the halls of Lumon, unrecognizable to the man who once loved her. And it's fitting that the same doctor that goes to the same expert's hall where we have seen Gemma last is the one to whistle this song. He is in the business of never releasing the dead and looks like he is completely fine with it. Now, when SS Edmund Fitzgerald remains were found, they were actually split in half, which also kind of makes you think about the whole Severance process where they split people personalities into two different halves. So, you know, there's also another connection, but we definitely didn't finish with the doctor yet.
The searchers all say they'd have made Whitefish Bay if they'd put 15 more miles behind her.
Another interesting thing is the song tells us that had the ship sailed just 15 more miles, it would have reached safety, but it didn't. It was too late. Similarly, Mark felt this almost there feeling just to be crushed in episode 4, and it was really with him in this episode too.
Because they are smarter than us, okay?
What if no matter how Mark is close to the shore, to the freedom and to the truth, Lumon will always be able to pull him back? I mean, we have seen Mark in this episode completely frustrated, and it's kinda similar to the same theme that it's being peddled in this song. The ship, the song, the show, they all stories of disappearance, people taken, lost, rebranded, their true selves never seen again. In Severance, the worker become nothing more than names on an employee list, just as the Fitzgerald crew became names read in a musty old hall in Detroit. Though we are not yet finished with the Doctor, who is by the way portrayed by Robbie Benson, as IMDb page suggests, and I kinda have no idea why they went through so much trouble to hide his face and then just post the credit on IMDb page. It seems a little bit futile to me, but I guess maybe this is how it works. Anyway, moving forward, I would like to discuss his instruments. In my previous video I suggested that they can be both dental tools, which they kinda look like and kinda make sense since we have the smiling wall from season 1, as we have seen in episode 1, Gemma is probably connected to some life supporting system, maybe she's in a coma, maybe it's an induced coma, and she's being awoken only when she's needed.
My life has been 107 hours long. Most of that has been these half-hour sessions.
Now, when people are in coma, their dental hygiene and regular hygiene for that matter is the responsibility of the medical staff. So assuming there are dozens or maybe hundreds of people in the lower floors, someone has to make sure when those people will be awakened, they will look the part and not look like somebody from the whole GOATS department. Now, there's always a possibility of those instruments to be somehow related to neurosurgery, as I initially thought, but revisiting episode 1 made me think it's a small chance scenario, since if we once again focus on this image, most of the abbreviations here, like the pocket rate and the pocket time and the RFSP, are connected to the data transfer world, which makes me think that whatever mind manipulations are there, they are digital and not surgical. At least not anymore. By the way, the Glasgow blow can be related to a Glasgow scale, which determines the level of presence for people in a coma, how much are they aware. So if we look at this from that angle, it all kinda connects. Another interesting thought is that in order to carve a face in a watermelon, very similar instruments are used. And since in this episode we are seeing Irving's face on a watermelon, by the way, it's a Black Beauty watermelon from Malaysia, and the coffee in Lumon Industries is from Rwanda, and for some reason it's very important. So maybe it is a possible option. However, I think that the character is called Doctor implies that this scenario is way less likely. although it will be funny if it actually becomes true. Another interesting thing about the doctor that he has a black keycard. Just like Miss Huang and Mr. Milchik, my guess is the color of the keycard probably opens the doors that you're qualified to enter. That's why MDR have a blue color and O&D and the gold department have a green one. It is suggested that the black keycard is the all-access card, but it's not confirmed, and maybe Milchik and the rest of the management is just the tip of an iceberg, and their accessibilities are also very limited. The black exports hallway where we are seeing the doctor also appears in the new intro and shows both Gemma and HellyR inside of the elevator. We know that Gemma is there, but is there also a risk that HellyR will be sent there too? In this episode, we learn that Jamie Egan doesn't really prioritize his child's safety, so you know, everything is possible.
Father encouraged it.
In this scene, when Mark is standing next to his refrigerator, you can notice an image from the book Ressurection by Lev Tolstoy, a classical writer in the Russian literature.
Gemma was an educator as well, Russian literature.
In Ressurection, Lev Tolstoy tells the story of Dmitry Ivanovich, a man forced to confront the consequences of his past when he sees a woman he sexually assaulted. Katerina Maslova, now a prisoner standing before him in court. He realizes that the system he represents is not just flawed, it actively destroys lives, reducing individuals to numbers, to shadows of who they once were. This moment of reckoning, of being forced to face a past action that cannot be undone, echoes in this episode with Milchik, much like Dmitry is forced to acknowledge his role in the suffering of others. Hearing both from Drummond and from Miss Huang that Innis are not people visibly hurts Milchik. That's why the scene in episode 3 is very important, because he felt on his own skin how it actually feels when your personality is being reduced to nothing. Feeling like your whole personality is being absorbed into, like my friend Real have put it, some Uncle Tom shitty painting, and then seeing someone else treated in a similar manner is something that obviously hurts Seth, and hopefully it will be a turning point for him. I don't know if you have been bullied, hopefully not, but if you have been, usually it kinda helps and increases your levels of empathy. I know I have been bullied in high school, and I know it kinda helped me to see different situations, maybe from an aspect from the victim. Like, you don't have to be bullied in order to feel empathy, but it certainly helps to increase its levels. So this is exactly what happens with Milchik, in my opinion, from episode 3. He experienced on his own skin how it feels when your personality is basically reduced to nothing. Then there is Helena Egan, who in a cruel mirroring of Maslova's fate is forced to return to the very place where she was once subjected to a very difficult trauma. Like Maslova, she is sent back into the machinery of a system that does not care for her suffering. It only demands compliance.
And Father approves.
Father encouraged it.
In Ressurection, Maslova is convicted not because she is truly guilty, but because the system needs someone to blame. Also, Helena is returned to the severed floor, not because she deserves it, but because she has no power to resist the forces controlling her fate. And if all this sounds completely far-fetched to you, the whole Ressurection, just the name of it, we are seeing people here basically being resurrected. We see in Gemma, who everybody thought that she was dead, and maybe there is some guy that we have seen in episode 1 that can be maybe even Petey, or maybe Mr. Grainer, or maybe somebody else that is supposed to be dead. And once again, in a cult like corporation like Lumon, where Kier Egan is basically a god, it's completely logical and kinda expected to assume that they would love to resurrect this guy so he will come and lead the army of the severed people to, lead a new civilization or some bullshit like that. The tragedy of Ressurection is not just in its characters, but in the unchanging world around them, and that is the tragedy of Severance as well. The realization that knowing the truth is not enough. The system endures, and those caught within it must either break free or be swallowed whole.
Whatever you say, Mr. Milchik. Praise cure.
Another interesting thing on Mark's fridge is the image of Grand Duke Alexei Alexandrovich of Russia, who was a high-ranking naval officer and admiral of the Russian Empire. Despite his prestigious title, his legacy is marked by military failures, political delusionment, and the slow decline of the Imperial Russia's naval power. His role in the disastrous Russia-Japanese War and his eventual fall from influence may be similar to what happens with Milchik in this episode. episode, but I'm actually more interested in other connection. First of all, he was the son of Alexander II, the Emperor of Russia, so he was kind of a Nepo baby, which some people already suggest that maybe Miss Huang are, but it kind of feels a little bit of a stretch to me, you know, like nobody in the creators, writers room was sitting there like, let's use this Alexei guy to suggest that there is a Nepo baby in Lumon. I think it's too much, but once again, when I notice something, I share. Now, Alexei's role as a shitty admiral once again connects to a shipwreck that we discussed in the beginning, since his inability to reform the Russian naval force led to a loss of many ships on the Russia-Japanese war. Also, this image of him being, you know, the bear with American darlings appeared in Harpers Magazine from 1871, December 23rd, volume 15, issue 782. What is interesting that there is a very popular drawing in this issue that you can even buy on eBay or something, like this one. It's called Saved from the Wreck. I don't know about you, but it kind of feels like the writers are telling us something about ships that are not coming back to their harbor. And this is why the harbor is called, maybe it's called, not literally, but called because it's empty, like no one's there. I mean, harbor is usually a place of safety. Safety also means usually something warm. So kind of called harbor contradicts itself. So maybe saying called harbor, this is basically saying that there is a personality, that it's empty, that there is no ships, no personality, no I inside of somebody's body. Maybe, maybe not. Once again, I'm just spitballing here. I would love to know what you think about this. There's also the part of Helena being an heir to Jamie Egan and following his rule and system, just like Duke Alexei followed the old rule and the all-outlived system. So maybe there is a parallel here too. Now, the pills that Mark takes and the disgusting liquid he drinks were featured in an intro when his outie sleeps and being awoken by his innie. What's interesting for me here is why in the intro in this liquid a small innie mark is dropped. I thought this liquid is just some kind of a, like, I don't know, immune system boost or something like this that help him not to die from the reintegration. So I wonder if it can mean something other than what he drinks in order to speed up the reintegration process. So maybe this medicine and this liquid will serve a bigger purpose than just to be there to show to the audience that there is something different between Petey and Mark, and this is why Mark is not going to die, because let's face it, he is the hero. He's not going to die, maybe until the last episode of this TV show, and even there I doubt it.
The medical team says your tempers will rebalance quickly.
Now, when Mr. Drummond talks to Helena, he says that the medical team says that her tempers will rebalance quickly. It suggests that Lumon has the capabilities to measure how much woo, frolic, dread and malice their workers and management has in their blood system or something like this, and they can actually manipulate it. We have seen in episode 3 Regabi influencing Mark's brainwaves using transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS, and it once again makes me think that it's all somehow connected to our brainwaves, the one that she mentioned, the 5 brainwaves that basically innies and outies have.
The monitors differentiate the 5 brainwave frequencies of the innie and outie.
Just like in the break room, they never actually measure their pulse, but maybe it was also their brain waves. Probably during those oblinement sessions that Hammond is talking about, there is something similar happens, and probably it's not very pleasant, according to Helena's reaction to it.
The work is mysterious and important.
And the work is mysterious and important.
Now, Drummond is repeating the words that Mark says in season 1, and it's probably some sort of a mantra that is being spoon-fed to Lumon children and cultists. But the biggest what the fuck moment here is that the word mysterious is actually a synonym to words like baffling, cryptine, magic, etc. I know it's a YouTube video and I'm kinda supposed to chew those topics, but I really don't need to explain you that something that's mysterious is kinda unknown, or at least not explained fully for us to understand it. So I get why this work is mysterious for Mark, who is a child basically that's been alive for only 2 years, but why in the world it's mysterious for Drummond? Does he even know what MDR actually does, or he is just a blind believer? When our Inis work for the first time in the tri-stations, the shot from above resembles certain keys on the keyboard that Inis use, and they all kind of resemble the recycle symbol. And we all know that Lumen recycles. Recycles people, probably, but still recycles, so good for them. And in the break room there is still remnants from the previous version where Inis used to put their hands, which serve as a reminder for our heroes to behave, or things can come back to what they were.
I'd hate to resend certain privileges.
Also, it suggests that it wasn't really connected to something and just a tool for control in order to immobilize Inis when their mind is being broken. Now, when Dylan finally adds 2 + 2 and realizes why Irving was telling him to hang in there, he finds a note that says, from O&D,
first turn right, all the way down the hall, and turn right, turn left, down a long hallway, and turn left, turn right, right, left, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, down a long hall, and turn right, then left, right, turn right one more time, and all the way down a long hallway.
Now, I tried to compare it to the maps we have, but wasn't able to do so. Now, I want to actually address a different issue. This is not the first time that we are seeing our Inis have an exceptional navigational memory, which in psychology is called spatial memory. It is stored and processed mainly through hippocampus, where also the episodic memory is also stored. You know, the memories that are personal to us, that have some emotional connection, like the color of your mother's eyes.
To the best of your memory, what is or was the color of your mother's eyes?
What's happening?
So I wonder, maybe our Inis' ability to navigate with such ease in a very difficult locations comes as a super compensation for losing their episodic memories. Just something to think about. Another question that I unfortunately don't have an answer for you is why it's written that Lumen exists for 882 quarters, because 882 quarters is actually 220.5 years. So even if you start counting from the birth of Kier Egan at 1841, it will make this year 2061, which will make Mark, who was born in 1978, 83 years old. Something here just don't match, the math is not mathing, and I hope we will get an explanation on that in the future episodes. Now let's look at the new files in Mark's portfolio. We have Waynesboro, Yakima, Allentown, Astoria, Bellingham, Cairns, Chicxulub, Cielo or Cello, and Cold Harbor, of course. Now, Allentown, Bellingham, and Cairns are previously finished files. We have seen them in Season 1, and Mark even received a crystal cube for doing something special with this file. Apparently. Allegedly.
What about Mark's crystal head cube?
That's not a prize, that's just something they gave him.
Which is better than it used to be before Mark's freshman fluke.
Both Cold Harbor and Waynesboro are very significant places in the history of the Civil War. Waynesboro, Virginia was the site of a pivotal Civil War battle in 1865, leading to the collapse of Confederate forces in the Shenandoah Valley. Now, the site of the Battle of Cold Harbor in 1864 during the American Civil War, known for its significant casualties. Now, maybe the war is a common thing here, and following the same logic, Yakima area was central to the Yakima War between 1855 to 1858, a conflict between the Yakima people and the United States government over land disputes. Since we are discussing today the whole body snatcher theme of Lumen stealing the almost dead, it kinda works. 1860s is when Lumen was established, and Kier Egan apparently served in this period as a military doctor. So maybe this is when he starts to take some bodies from the battlefield of people who almost dead in order to conduct some experiments on them. Maybe, I don't know, just a thought. But the problem here is that the rest of the names don't really connect to any significant battles, even though they are sometimes connected to historical events. And for example, something like Chicxulub is a town in New Mexico, near the Chicxulub crater, linked to the asteroid impact that caused the mass extinction of dinosaurs. And I kinda doubt that Kier Egan was alive when, dinosaurs got extinct. But still, it kinda reminds me the Remedium Hominibus, Cure for Humanity, which in my opinion is the extinction of current civilization and recycling into a new one with Kier Egan as the only monotheistic god. Now, moving forward, we have also Ricken, as he rewrites the book, and one of the most important passages. You can notice that he also mentions his parents conducting something. Ricken's parents were crazy-ass artists that conceived and birthed him on stage as a 9 months theatrical experience. They conducted a lot of those experiments and even served some time in jail because of them. And it's just one small detail that's supposed to convince you to go right now and read the HellyR on Apple Books. It's free, you don't have to pay anything, you have also the audio version, and also you can watch my review of the book. It's a cool video and I think it kinda deserves more views, even though the thumbnail is kind of a shite. And we'll finish here with your guesses about what Miss Casey was about to say to Mark. She always talks in present tense, and suddenly she is saying that your Audi is going to. Going to what? Is he going to change the world? Is he going to become a father? What else? Is he going to kill a mockingbird or something like this? Please let me know in the comments. What do you think? Let's see, maybe somebody will be able to guess what she actually meant. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I usually don't do 2 videos on one episode, but I kind of felt a little bit bad about my previous one. I was a bit angry, and of course I was angry because, you know, as Henry Cavill put it,
I don't necessarily consider that toxic, I just consider that passionate.
And some people took it like I'm upset because my theory about the simulation was wrong. And look around you, this is the amount of fucks I give about my theory being right or wrong. I never cared about this thing. If you're following my channel for a while already, you know I never care about being right or being wrong. What I care about is whether the clues and the indications and the information that is given to us during the episode can actually serve its purpose. And if the creators completely disregard some contradictions that they are putting in the episode and they're explaining it as, you know, an artistical choice and you're just supposed to accept it, this is the point when I get angry, because I obsess with these TV shows and I respect them, and I hope they will respect me and my work, not my work, but everybody who is like me, who is going deep dive into all of those episodes the same way. And actually I was probably wrong in being angry, because I've seen some interviews with Ben Stiller and it looks like it still might be something else. Maybe it's not a simulation, but I still doubt that it's something that just happened on the outside. Like no manipulation, no augmented reality, no psychological something there, was nothing there. It's kind of doubtful. I think there was something there, and I hope we're gonna learn it in the future episodes. And by the way, there's this channel that had the interview. I don't know how they have only 1,000 subscribers and they managed to bring Ben Stiller, and this is not a disrespect to them. This is actually saying like, guys, go ahead to their link and show them some love. They were able to actually interview the freaking Ben Stiller, and like they barely have any views, which I think is criminally underrated. And if you're watching this video, I really hope you're gonna go to that channel and show them some love. Honestly, at this point, probably most of you already checked out and you're watching a different video, but if you're still here, I wanna ask you something. Like, this is not an advertisement, even though you can consider it as one. Like a couple of years ago, I wanted to do like a travel channel, and I made a video about Switzerland when I was traveling, visiting places that Tolkien visited, because I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, and I think it's a good video, but it barely has like 100 views. And once again, I just want to make sure if this is just a bad video or I was just, you know, like duped with YouTube algorithms. So if you like travel content, I don't ask you to go there, to like the video, to subscribe or some shit like this. The only thing I'm asking from you is check the link, see if the video is okay. If it's not, I would love to hear your opinion about it, and you can tell me like, Igor, like, I love you, dude, but this video is not very good. You should make a different one, or you should leave the whole travel content to somebody else, which I will also appreciate. But if I'm correct, and I think that only because of the algorithm the video didn't get enough attention, then maybe you can help me out here. Now, of course, it goes without saying, do whatever you want. If it feels like something you want to do for me, great. If not, and you feel like you want to tell me to go fuck myself, I also respect this. You don't owe me anything, okay? This is not me pushing you. I mean, it's YouTube and everybody will still take it to the negative place. Usually this is how it works, but I'm trying to be as polite as possible. This is a favor to me. If you don't feel like you want to do it, don't do it. Please don't. Thank you so much, and I hope I'm gonna see you on the next video. Meanwhile, bye!